Hey, hey, happy Friday. Welcome to another Relationship Friday. Y'all go ahead and share. Let people know we are live. It's another Friday. We made it, y'all. Hey, hey. It is Friday, another Relationship Friday. I am excited to be here, to be back. It's been a minute since we have done our Relationship Friday. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. As y'all come in, let me know where you're tuning in from. It is good to see some of my old heads in the building. Hey, Renaya. Y'all go ahead and share this. We are talking about, looks like I got lipstick on my teeth. We are talking about deliciousness. Serious topic, serious conversation. This whole thing about infidelity. So y'all get in here. Let me know where you are tuning in from when you come in. Go ahead and share this. Go ahead. Share this. Send this. Invite your people to come in. I'm going to do it too, just like I'm asking you all to do it. And thank y'all for those of y'all who have already shared. Let me know where you are tuning in from. I'm sharing it right now, y'all. And I hope you do the same. So y'all come on in here. Let us get this conversation going. Hey, Natalie is in the building. Hello and welcome, Natalie from Winston-Salem. Welcome. North Kakalaki is in the building. I was just down there last weekend. So I love North Carolina. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me know where y'all are tuning in from. For those of you all who have been here, go ahead and Dallas, Texas. Okay, listen. Dallas is in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So listen, when you come in, let me know where you're tuning in from, and also go ahead and share. Man, my team always tells me what to say. I think it's like, share, and subscribe. So depending on where you are tuning in from, we are streaming live. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube, Instagram, and somewhere else. So I'm Rachel Hunter. I am your licensed clinical social worker. And with RDH Counseling and Consulting, where we help you become your healthiest self. Listen, we got Liberia in the house, Motherland in the house. Hello and welcome, Brandy. Thank you for joining. Thank y'all for sharing. Y'all are doing it up. Thank you, Renaya. Like, share, and follow. That's it. Thank you. So y'all go ahead, like, share, follow. Let me wipe my teeth. This is so irritating. I don't know how and why people wear lipstick. Because don't look at me, y'all, because I'm gonna wipe my teeth. I don't know how people do that. It's so irritating. Thank y'all. So listen, can y'all tell I'm excited to be here with y'all? It's been a while. P-Town is in the building. So listen, we are talking about this whole idea about infidelity in the marriage, in the relationship. Do you stay? Should you not stay? If you are going to stay, what you would consider, or what even you should consider to decide whether or not you're going to stay. So y'all know we do the poll. So I'm going to start there, right there, with the poll. And I want to know, what to you is infidelity? Because some people have different ideas about what infidelity is, what cheating is. So I want to start there by asking that question, because I think it's going to be very interesting to see what people's thoughts, ideas, mindsets are about what actually cheating is, what infidelity is. And we put this fancy title on it, infidelity, or I had an affair. No, you cheated, right? So let's talk about what infidelity actually is. So y'all go ahead, put it in the comments. What is that to you? What is cheating? What is infidelity when it comes to, and specifically, we're talking about marriage, but really, it can also be um, any relation, in your relationships, right? A lot of the clients and couples, specifically the couples that I work with, these are married individuals that are dealing with infidelity. And it's never an easy thing, right? To decide how you want to handle this. It's a painful, very painful thing, right? To have your spouse, your partner to cheat on you. Um, and then you have to decide, okay, what am I going to do with this? Now I know. What am I going to do with it? So let me see what y'all are even saying infidelity is. What constitutes cheating or infidelity in your relationships, right? So y'all go ahead, put that in the comments. Let me see what y'all are saying about what you consider to be infidelity or cheating. So I want to know about that. Y'all go ahead, put that in the comments. Now, the other thing that I think it's interesting and important for us to note is that for some people, some things are okay, right? So for some partners, some relationships, there are things that are okay. And those are conversations you need to have beforehand. So you know what's okay, what's not. So the first poll is, what is infidelity? Let's talk about that. So Natalie says having an intimate relationship with someone. So Natalie said, listen, if you are having an intimate relationship with someone and it ain't me, you're cheating. This is what we consider to be infidelity. Now, Natalie, I'm going to take it a step further because we've done a couple of lives a while back and where we talked about intimacy. Now, I am assuming, Natalie, that when you say intimate relationship, you're talking about sexual in nature. I want to kind of just put it out there, though, that intimacy can be more than sex, right? Intimacy really is a connection with an individual. So this can be emotionally connecting with someone else, right? So I'm assuming, and probably, we're talking about sex. Okay, yep. So Natalie is saying yes. So for Natalie, listen, if you have sex with someone else, it ain't me, this is cheating. Now, there's a range, and this is where I want to kind of go in a little bit deeper to what does that look like? Now, this is maybe going to sound weird or different for some people. For some of the couples that I work with, some things are okay, kind of toeing the line, and some things are just like, no, that's completely what I consider cheating. So for some people, flirting, they don't consider that cheating, right? Whereas they may consider having sex with the partner as cheating. For some individuals, talking to another female or talking to another man, they don't consider that to be cheating, right? And maybe kissing or holding hands. So I want to kind of hear, is there limits, levels to this thing for you? Put that out there. Let me see. Okay, that too. Okay, so Natalie, I definitely hear you on that. So when we're talking about infidelity, when the clients come to me, the couples that I work with, they are very specific about what it is they are considering to be a breach of trust in their marriage, whether it's this person was messaging someone else, and that's totally inappropriate. They're like, listen, this is cheating. I don't care if you actually went all the way through with having sex with this person, but you were having conversations, inappropriate conversations about things, right? So there's a range of what people kind of consider to be infidelity. And again, when I do my premarital counseling, a part of what I talk to my couples about is having these conversations. What's appropriate, what's not. What is considered infidelity? What do you consider cheating? What don't you consider cheating? And so these things are definitely needed to be had. Hey, Abigail, let us know where y'all are tuning in from. Thank y'all so much for sharing this. Like, share, and follow. Abigail said anything you wouldn't feel comfortable doing in front of your partner is cheating. And I love that, right? Because what we're really talking about is us not, pulling hairs, pulling strings, right? I think that's what they say, dividing hairs. I may be getting it wrong. But anything you wouldn't do in front of me, then and you do it, then that's considered cheating. So making it very clear and upfront with your partner what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. Now, when we're talking about, and I think basically people can kind of understand why infidelity would be an issue, why it would be a problem, right? So when we're talking about infidelity, and if we use the broader sense of that thing, anything that you wouldn't, you're not going to do in front of me, you wouldn't do with someone else when I'm not there, right? So whether it's flirting, whether it's taking someone out to lunch, paying for a friend, taking a friend out to the movies, whatever it is. And then, like Natalie was saying, the sex part, right? Um, being inappropriate. When infidelity takes place in a marriage, there's a couple of things that happens. There's a couple of things that take place that make this so painful. And I want to kind of talk about that. I want to kind of break it down. So, when we're talking about infidelity taking place in a marriage, we're really talking about, hey, Irina, we're really talking about there being a breach of trust in this relationship, in this sacred relationship where it's supposed to be just you and your partner. You're supposed to be able to trust this person. And so, when we have individuals that are, cheating, being inappropriate, having inappropriate conversations, touching, having sex. The other thing is there are different types of infidelity. There could be financial infidelity. Had you thought of that? Had you considered that? Right? You were thinking that this individual is paying bills, taking care of the so you're cheating because you're not. Because where is this money going to? What's going on? And maybe that money is being given somewhere else to someone else, right? Irving said, anything you are doing to take away from me, from us. And so that kind of connects with the financial piece of things too. Hey, we got Richard in the building from Atlanta. So when we're talking about this breach of trust, we now have a challenging time for whoever has been wounded or hurt, whoever is the victim in this situation. There now is that breach of trust. So I can't trust you. And a relationship without trust, is very hard for that thing to be successful, for it to be effective, and for it to last. So there's a breach of trust that takes place. Now, in addition to that, infidelity doesn't just impact one person, it impacts all parties that are involved. And I know sometimes we think about it strictly from the perspective of the victim, the person that it was done to. But a part of what I do talk about when I do the marital therapy and counseling is, how did we get here, right? Like what's been going on in the relationship that we've gotten to this place. Now, how y'all let me come on live and not have my earrings on? Y'all something else. Look, y'all got to do better. Look, now these, I don't have holes. Don't come for me. These are my magnetic clips that I'm gonna put on, and it's gonna be easy to stick it on. But there is a piece, there's a responsibility. There's no blame. So I want to make sure that y'all are very, very, very clear on the fact that there is no blame, right? Like, what we're not going to do is blame me because you cheated. You didn't know how to be appropriate, right? But when we are looking at the big picture, right? As a therapist, a part of what we do is kind of look at what happened. How did we get here? And that part is important for individuals that are considering staying. Now, we ain't there yet, right? But we are going to kind of talk about that. For the individuals that say, hey, okay, this happened, it hurt, but I want to kind of try to move forward. Okay. So we know infidelity there's a range of things that can be considered infidelity. And it really is just going to take, it's going to be up to the person who is impacted to kind of determine how how they feel about it, right? And what they want to do about it. But one of the things that let me pull this down a little bit. I love these magnetic things, y'all. I love it. But one of the things that we always want to be very clear about is there is pain, there is harm that is done. And there's a couple of things that people, what holes are trying to be filled. Definitely, those are the things that we want to kind of take into consideration. Like what you got going on that you are looking outside of your marriage, of your relationship, to get that need met. What is that need anyway? And why are you looking elsewhere? What's the issue that you can't have a conversation, process it, work things out within the relationship? Does that make sense how I'm saying it? Okay. So, second poll that I'm going to put in here, if your partner cheats, whatever the cheating, however you consider cheating, are you going to stay? Would you stay? Just off the top, no judgment, because we're going to process, because there are some things you want to consider that may help you make your mind up one way or the other. But I will say it's not always cut and dry. Okay. So let's talk about that. If your partner cheats, are you staying? Would you stay? Do you think you could deal with and live through infidelity? So let me see y'all put that in the comment. If your partner cheats, are you staying? Yes or no? And why? Why? So we kind of had an earlier conversation. We had an earlier conversation about that. So if your partner cheats, are you staying? And some people were saying, I would have to kind of get back if I was able to get back. Meaning go out and cheat or connect with somebody that they knew, then that would kind of alleviate it, and maybe I would consider it. And I think they were kind of joking a little bit, maybe just a little bit. But what are we saying, right? So some of y'all are saying no, no, yeah, okay. So it seems like a lot of you all are saying no. There are individuals now. Why no? Why are you all saying no? Tell me that. Why would you automatically say no, the relationship is over if cheating takes place? Let me hear why. And there's no judgment, but I do want to hear the why behind it. Because interestingly enough, I have worked with a lot of couples who have been able to rebound. And one of the things I heard a pastor say, he said, marriages are one of the most resilient things on this planet. And I have seen that to be true, where you're like, dang, that happened, and y'all are still together and have been able to grow and become even stronger following this. Now, for some people, they like, what we ain't finna do is try to make any of this work. And I totally get it. So Arvinia says, usually people don't stay, and it's not because of the cheating, but because of the damage and disconnect that was done leading to the cheating. Yes. So when we talk about this breach of trust, we're really talking about an individual has been so crushed, and their faith in you. So I want you to think about it from this perspective of, you have in your mind that the relationship, especially if this is something that this is the first time. Now, there are individuals that this is, repeated cheating going on. Okay. But let's say this is the first time that this has happened. And Richard is saying, listen, you can't make me believe that it's not going to happen again, which makes sense. And if this is the first time that this has happened, you are thinking everything is going well. You're thinking, like, me and my boo, we doing it. And then you find out through whatever way you find out. Um, and I think that plays a part too. How you find out is going to play a role in some things that people consider, and we'll get there. But you find out about it, and your world is turned upside down. Like the rug is pulled from under your feet because in your mind, you thought we were solid. I love this person. I know they love me. They wouldn't do something like this. Um, the other thing that tends to happen too is now your mind starts going all kinds of places. Like, how did this happen? Now I'm side eyeing. I can't believe anything you say. And you start to second guess yourself. How did I not see this? What was the level of deceit on their part that they were able to keep this going or keep this from me finding out? And so it really does, like Irvina said, it really does do a lot of damage, because like Richard said, I can't trust that this is not going to happen again. But also it damages you emotionally, mentally. You may be, just depending on what happened, how you found out. God forbid there's a child that comes from that, right? Because that's a whole nother thing that plays a role. But your esteem can go low. You can begin to start questioning, well, what's wrong with me? Right? And that just happens. So let me go to some of the comments. So Richard said, when it comes to staying, he's like, no, because I don't believe that this is a one-time thing. I'm afraid that it's going to happen again. Natalie says, my ex kept cheating with the same woman. Yeah. So at that point, I felt like he was in love with her, and we talked about that. That emotional connection. For some people, that's worse than the sexual part, because you love this person, you are connected to this person. And so that plays a big role as well. Natalie, I'm glad you brought that up. It was a shock. And yes, my mind was all over the place. Listen, many of the women that I counsel, that I work with, cheating is devastating. Now, the other thing I want to say is it's devastating for both parties, meaning there are men who get cheated on as well, right? And so for whoever it is, it the psychological damage that finding out that your husband, your wife cheated on you, um, it's work to work through that. And so for some individuals, they're like, no, I'm not willing to put myself through it again, because I don't know. I'm going to always be second guessing. So that makes sense. Is there anybody that would stay? Right? This is the first time you find out about it. Is there anyone that thinks maybe they might stay to try to work through it? And if so, why? Because like I said, I've worked with individuals both ways, where it's like, listen, no, they cheated, it's a wrap. And sometimes what ends up happening is the individual that cheated um, is the one saying, hey, I'm really sorry, let's go to counseling. And they're the ones that come in and are saying, hey, I need to save my marriage. Right. And so then we're looking at how did we get here? What happened? How did we get to this place where you're deciding to go outside of your marriage and have sex with someone else? Or someone else's, a lot of people. And then sometimes it is the person that was cheated on that is looking and asking for therapy, for the relationship to take place, and for counseling to try to work through whatever the issues are. So for those of y'all who say yes, I don't know that my answer would automatically be no. What are some of the reasons why? And let's kind of talk through that, right? And this is us talking about some of the considerations, because it may not always be, yes, let me just say no, let me, close the door. It may not always be that easy for some individuals. And I want us to kind of process that as well, right? Like, what what do I need to take into consideration? Because there may be some of y'all who are going through this right now, right? And so to have this safe space to kind of talk it through, because when you are in the situation where your husband, your wife has cheated on you emotionally, you can be a wreck. And so you may not be able to make decisions right in that moment because it's a lot. It's a lot. I've worked with individuals. It's just so much that it changes how you think you would ever be, right? Ranging from I feel suicidal, I feel homicidal, I'm fitting to get everybody, don't do it. And even with the suicidal, don't do it, right? Because this individual is not worth you taking your life. So let's kind of talk for individuals that are saying, I don't know that I would immediately leave out. Let's kind of process that. And then we'll talk about things you want to consider. So Irv said, yes, I would stay. Find out what the issues are, give a chance to work on it, grow through it. Cheating is not the final doomsday for me. Thank you for bringing that up, Irv, because for each person, you have to kind of know you. You have to know, one, what does this relationship mean? What is it about? Where are you? What are your values? And what is it that's going on? Is this something that we can work through? Now, I have worked with couples and they have been able to work through it, right? But it's something that you have to kind of take into consideration. I think the other thing too, and this is us kind of going into what you may want to take into consideration, is some of the things that you want to think about is what's been going on, right? What when we're saying cheating, what is the cheating? Right? Is this that they were flirting? Is this that they were maybe inappropriate? Is this they actually had sex, outside of marriage? Are there children involved? How long have you all been married? Is this something that you feel like you can invest your energy into? And I'm going to put that at the end because we're going to talk about what it looks like to stay. It's a lot to stay. And we're going to talk about that. Richard said, if she says, I'm so sorry, this is what happened, and I'm in payment you can smash my home, girl. Well, we might be able to talk. So now he's kind of laughing a little bit there, but I have worked with individuals that they feel if I can get payback, then I can kind of be at an even keel to consider working it through, right? But I hear what you're saying. There has to be some atonement, some restitution. Now, what are we talking about when y'all hear about this atonement and restitution? What does that look like? Y'all put that in, is that, hey, I need to go out here and also have sex with someone else? Now, from a clinical standpoint, I'm never going to encourage you to do that. I'm never going to encourage you to dishonor yourself because your partner dishonored him or herself, right? I'm never going to advocate for that. Even though I can understand the desire, what we're really talking about is I am so hurt in this moment. I want you to feel the hurt that you inflicted on me. So that's what we're really talking about, right? This idea of let me get back, let me go out here and have sex with this friend is really, you have hurt me to my core. Some of us have been shattered by these things happening, right? So we're really talking about, I am so hurt that I want you to experience this level of pain that I'm feeling. And sometimes that is what we're thinking will make us feel better. The reality is, if you go out here and you dishonor yourself, then now you may have shame and you may have guilt on top of the hurt, right? So that's why, as a therapist, I would never advocate. I would never advocate for that. Irv said people don't leave because of cheating; they leave for all of the other stuff that comes with the cheating, like disrespect, child, pregnancies, financial issues that come from cheating, the diseases. So now let's talk about that, right? When we're talking about this idea of what to consider, of whether or not you're going to leave, Those are things you want to think about, right? You went out here. How irresponsible were you? Did you wrap it up? Did you not? You didn't. Like you. So you had no. You just. I mean, you already weren't respecting me, but you just gonna put your meat anywhere. That's right. So those are things that come into consideration as well. Children, having a child outside of your marriage, right? So, what we're really talking about is now your spouse has a reminder of what you've done. Because sometimes, out of sight, out of mind, he's not talking to that person anymore. That's a lot easier to deal with, right? And to try to work through. You put the boundaries in place. That's a lot easier to try to work through as compared to you got a child and you want to be involved in the child's life, right? And now that's a whole nother can of worms because now you've put your spouse in a position to where if she decides to stay, she has to be constantly reminded. She has to decide, am I saying that my husband cannot be involved in this child's life? And if she says that, that man has to decide where he goes from there. And if he is in agreement with that, she has to decide how she feels about herself becoming the wedge between a father and his child, right? Like it's just messy. It becomes really messy. And then if she is on board with him having connection with the child, how is the mother going to act? All right, so now you have engaged in a situation where that takes place. And now she has to be reminded every time the baby come over, she got to be reminded of what her husband did. Vice versa. You as the woman cheat and get pregnant and your husband decides he wants to stay. I mean, what does that mean? He taking care of another what is we doing? What's going It's a lot. It's a lot. On top of are there diseases? Right? How has what you've done impacted your partner? Have you brought in a disease now that your partner or you are having to deal with? Those are considerations that you want to think about. Am I going to stay or not? So let's go a little bit deeper. What are some other things that what would you consider about whether or not I'm going to stay? What do you think would be some considerations? Y'all put that in the comments. So, as a therapist, what I always encourage when my couples come in, most of the time the person that has gotten cheated on, they're on the fence. They're on the fence like I don't know, like they're not fully committed to leave. They like I don't know if I'm going to leave or not, right? So the things that I always encourage them to think about is you as an individual, can you deal with this? Because this is no light thing, right? Because now you don't trust your spouse. You have every reason not to trust your spouse. You have every reason not to trust them. Um, and especially if, and I think Irv brought this up earlier, what led up to it, right? Because a lot of times, and I'm going to talk about the women first, a lot of times women are very, very intuitive. Y'all already know if you got to ask, if you got to look through your partner's phone, you already know something is off. Like stop guessing, second guessing yourself. Trust. I was talking to Dana yesterday. Trust yourself is what she said, right? Trust your intuition. So if you are already feeling as if something is happening, something, you find that um, you kind of have thoughts. Some of y'all may be having dreams. Um, or you're going through the phone. If you get to that place where you're going through the phone, it's already problematic, right? But if you're going through the phone or you're asking questions and you're being told, no, you're crazy, ain't nothing going on, why are you asking me that? And you are made to feel like you're the one crazy. And then you find out that whole time, those are the things that kind of lead up to um, people deciding. Those are things you need to consider, right? Like, what was this? What was happening up until this point, right? So those are the things you want to consider and that play a role in what's been going on. I'm going to read some of the comments. So Rich says, it's just too much. Because when the cheated on becomes petty and can't let it go, which is understandable, that is added friction. Mouthful right there. It is a lot. It is a lot. So let me say this. I'm going to just put a pin in it right quick and say this. If there's issues in your marriage, get therapy, get counseling. Do not cheat. It causes so much foolishness and drama, right? But yes, if this is happening, it is a lot. And you want to also consider, yes, that gaslighting, Sakita. So imagine being there. This whole time you're being gaslit and you start second guessing yourself, right? You start, your esteem goes lower, your confidence goes lower, your emotionally, you are that's emotional abuse, right? So emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you're already drained because this has been going on. You never really maybe had proof, but you knew, and all along you were feeling some kind of way. And now we get to a place where we find out. So those are things you got to kind of, those are considerations. The other thing is, how did you find out? Right? Did the individual, they were so overcome with grief and remorse, and they said, hey, let me tell you what's going on? Or did you find out happenstance? Right? The person called you, the other person called you, right? And then when you talk to your spouse about it, they lied and tried to make, how, those are things you want to consider, right? Like, how did this take place? How did I find out about it? How is the person responding to you in this situation, right? What is their response to you? Are they like, girl, you tripping? It's your fault. You made me do it. I did it because you. What are you seeing? All of that is going to play a big part in whether or not moving forward is going to be possible. The other thing you want to consider is whether or not you can deal with this, because it is, like Richard said, it's a lot. And so you've got to consider your best interest in this moment, right? Emotionally, is it going to be too much for you? Right? Because it is unfair, right? So you need to be able to consider, are you able to work through this, to go through this? The other thing that people, you want to take into consideration is, what are your thoughts about separating? Because some people feel very strongly about remaining in a marriage, because they feel like God wants me to stay in a marriage, right? If there are spiritual beliefs connected to that. And I talked about that yesterday. There are some people who feel very strongly that no matter what, they are supposed to stay in a marriage, even if there is cheating, even if there is infidelity. And that is something that you have to consider. How are you feeling about that, right? What are your convictions? What are your beliefs on that? And where do you want to go from there? Um, do you recommend staying because of financial dependence? That's another consideration. If I leave, how am I going to be able to survive? How are my kids going to survive? When is the best time for me to leave? So if you're still wanting to leave and your finances is some kind of thing, That's something maybe you want to come up with the plan. How am I going to work this through? How am I going to financially? If you want to leave and it's an unhealthy, this person is cheating on you, is not trying to, no remorse, and is not trying to do what they need to do, I don't recommend anyone staying in a relationship that's unhealthy. No. And so when it comes to financial dependence, that's a real thing. That's so you have to live. So you got to kind of figure that part out. But that does not have to be a hindrance for you, because you need to go get you a job, get you 2, 3 jobs, right? And now with the way situations are, you can work from home or you can Uber. So what I do not recommend is people staying in unhealthy spaces because of certain things. Now, if you have children, you're gonna have to figure that part out. So that might look like, okay, who can I reach out to? What family members can I reach out to? Is there a shelter that I have to go into, especially if it's an unsafe situation? So there are ways that you can kind of figure that out. But those are considerations. Those are things you want to consider. What is life going to be like for me um, when I leave? Right? You want to think about that, and you want to have plan A, B, C, D, E, F, and G in place. I've seen it where individuals are still cohabitating, meaning they still live in the same house, but separate bedrooms until the person who got cheated on and was wanting to leave, can get themselves together. So don't feel like you're trapped, is what I'm saying. Usually we consider all of the other stuff, yes, rather than our own, the investment, yep, the children, the family, the status. So let's talk about that, right? When we're talking about the investment, a lot of times as women, now men sometimes do this as well, but a lot of times as women, what we're saying to ourselves is, I done put 12 years in. And I'm saying 12, but whatever the number is, I've been with this man for 5 years. I know him. And this is what we hear. This is what I hear a lot. I know him. As if to say, I know his foolishness. I'm comfortable with, or I am acclimated to this level of dysfunction. And I don't want to have to mess around and find out, or deal with someone else's dysfunction. So we kind of feel like, well, I've been here this long. Another kind of unhealthy thing we tell ourselves too is, I've put in work and I don't want another woman to benefit off of my work. But sis, where do we benefit? I just want to, what's the benefit again? Like, I just want to know what the benefit is, right? Now, for some people, the benefit is that status that Irv talked about. Taking a picture, being seen with a ring on, having the title of husband, or having the title of wife, right? Having that title, that status, for some individuals, that's more important than their dignity, right? They would rather stay there. And again, it's up to you what you decide to do. But if you are staying only because you are afraid of what people are going to say about you, like you really don't want to be there, but you're like, well, they're going to talk about me, or single life is hard. Now, it's not, single life is not hard. So I want to back up. I was about to say it is. It's not hard. It's just ghetto. Like, why I got to keep, y'all know how I feel. Why do I have to keep opening up my own car door and pumping my own gas and taking this trash? And I'm laughing, right? I'm kind of joking about that. But sis, what we're not going to do is stay in a relationship that you don't want to be in, because you are afraid that you won't be able to have life after a divorce. Like, I don't want us having that limited, poverty stricken mindset. Okay. Does that make sense how I'm saying it? Natalie says, I thought I knew my ex for 27 years, but heck no. And supposed I didn't anymore. That's another thing that I think hits people, right? Because Husbands are thinking they know their wives. And then, bam, vice versa. Wives are thinking they know their husbands. And to find out that all along, for, if it happened one time or if it was ongoing, whatever it is, I thought I knew you. That does damage, because what starts happening is you start second guessing yourself and your ability to make decisions. When you get to that place, it can be hard to come out of it. And now you are second guessing every decision you make. How could I have missed this? Well, should I do this? Should I not do that? And so it takes a lot of individual therapy to get help and get through that. Now, let's talk about individuals that say, you know what, I've taken into consideration all of these things, and there is more. You need to figure out for you what your considerations are, right? But for individuals that say, hey, I've considered all of this and I feel like it's worth me giving it a shot, trying to stay in this marriage, in this relationship. I want to talk to you all about what that looks like, what that's going to entail, and what has to be in place. So, for the Irv said, the person we marry, if we don't grow together, then in 5 years, boom, we are different people. Boom. Y'all listen, because a part of what we're talking about with marriage is you have two individuals, but it's not just two individuals. You're talking about two people who have two different life experiences. One guy said it this way: two worlds are coming together. And those worlds are trying to connect, trying to unite. And it's not always an easy thing. So you have to give yourself grace to be able to acclimate to each other and then to grow. And it is not always an easy process, because we've been lied to. We have been lied to a lot of times. We have the wedding in mind and not marriage. We've got wedding day in mind, right? Like, yes, boom, boom, boom. And it's about to be on and pop. It's going to be perfect. And we've done no work on ourselves to get ourselves together. And so what has happened is, when things get uncomfortable, because we haven't healed from past trauma, we don't know who we are, or we don't know our value and worth. Then when we feel some kind of way in our marriage, we look for validation and affirmation outside. And this is where cheating comes in. Because I'm looking for, and this is in the mindset of the cheater, I'm looking to be affirmed or validated or valued by someone, right? And that's because you don't recognize your value and your worth already. And so we've got these two individuals, if they're not healthy and whole and don't understand what marriage is, then we have cheating, that takes place. And then the individual's got to decide, am I willing to make the sacrifice of staying in this marriage with this person who has broken my heart, who has lied, who has let me down, who has cheated, and I no longer trust. And I feel embarrassed, humiliated, shamed, whatever the experience is. So that's going to be important. Now, when you are saying that, yes, I do want to continue in the marriage, there's work to be done by both individuals. Okay. So number one, we need to figure out what happened. How did we get here? Like, how do we get to this place where you didn't feel valued in your marriage, and your choice and decision was to go outside of the marriage? So what's going on in the marriage? Do you all know how to communicate? Do you know your spouse's, your partner's love language? If not, right? If we don't know it, a lot of times we're trying to give love the way we like to receive it. And your partner's like, but I don't like that. She don't listen. She doesn't value me. She doesn't respect me. And we like, what? What you mean, right? And so being able to understand who your partner is, how they, and this is vice versa, how they receive love, learning how to communicate is going to be important, right? Because if you're in a marriage and you don't feel like your partner's listening to you, or understand you. And then you go to work, right? And big, husky, strong, sexy, dark chocolate is like, girl, how you doing? How you doing today? Because y'all know they know how to, how you doing today? You sure looking good. Girl, you looking good. How you doing? Man, you look down today. What's on your mind? And you like, well, dang, somebody asking. Well, I'm glad you asked. And then so you start spilling your heart out to this individual, right? Because at home you feel like your spouse isn't listening. You don't feel heard. You don't feel respected or validated. And big strapping Tombo at the job is like, says, come and talk to me. And you like, okay. And women, what ends up happening is we start with the emotional connection. And that's where it starts. And then pretty soon you done emotionally opened up, and now you are becoming intimate. Not even the sex part, but we're talking about the emotional connection that happens when you begin to let your guard down, share with another man your fears, your hopes, your happiness, your desires, your goals. Pretty soon, yeah, pretty soon the next thing is, yeah, the draws, right? So it's being aware of that, and vice versa. Men, for the men, right? At home, your wife, we work, we tired, and we get home, we got to fix the food. If you have children, you got to take care of the kids. And then he coming in and he want attention, and you like, man, oh, bruh, I'm tired. Like, I gotta clean up. Like, I'm the only one doing the laundry. You can't do the laundry. Like, can I get a little help around here? And then you got the nerve to be touching on me at night, bruh. Why is you touching me? I'm tired. Go to sleep. Well, enough of that happening. That happens enough. Men have needs, sexual needs, not only just the sexual needs, right? But men want to feel respected. They want to feel as if they are valued, like as if you see them. And so you don't never get this man a compliment. And guess what? Guess who is giving them compliments at work? You wearing that shirt today? Oh, you wearing that suit today? You look, oh, you smell good. What is that you got? Y'all know how these people are. What's that cologne you got on? Oh my goodness. I don't you work out? Look, now they got to be tough. Oh, you work out? Is that muscles? Oh, and guess what's happening? His needs are being met, right? Emotionally, the need is being met. He's being validated. He's being affirmed. Man, can you? And here she go. Can you help me carry this? Oh, you're so big. You're so strong. Oh my goodness. And then guess what? That's an open door for them to ease on over there, right? And so we look at that. Those are the things that in therapy we look at. Y'all go ahead and share this, because somebody need to hear what it is that we are talking about. Does this make sense? What it is that I'm saying? Do y'all see how it can happen in a relationship? I'm gonna go to the comments. Irv said, if you want the people to grow in the marriage, not outgrow me and find a new me that tickles your fancy. Now, oh, okay. Listen, Irv is talking about, can we get a level of maturity? Marriage is not for everybody right now. If you are not emotionally mature, you ain't ready for marriage. Right. And so I'm loving what it is that you're saying. Her name is, listen, her name is Sis Stress. Yeah. Richard said, if you experience someone else's infidelity, shouldn't it be on the other person working to fix themselves? So this is a really good question. And it's yes, but it's also no, meaning it's not all, right? So there is the first thing that like I was saying, the first thing that I do is I want people to understand, and we need to talk about how we got here. After we can recognize and figure out how we got here, right? That's each person taking ownership of kind of the role that they played in a marriage, in the relationship, right? Everybody always has a role to play. And you need to look in the mirror to see what was the role that I played in this situation. So yes, being able to do that work, it is going to be important, right? And so that's where the personal work comes in. Now, both people have things that are required in order to move forward. So both people have to be on the same page, like, yeah, we want to work on this marriage. Because if y'all aren't there, there's no need to waste time, energy, and effort. And it's okay if you like, I don't know, or I don't want to. That's okay. You don't have to. There's no pressure. Leave if you feel like this isn't going to work. You're not able to do it. And don't feel bad about leaving. Okay. But if you do decide to stay, then there's work that has to be done on both parties. The work that has to be done for I'll talk about the victim first. So the work for the victim is, and I think someone mentioned it earlier, the work for the victim is to eventually get to a place of release. And what I mean by that is letting the person, forgiving the person. Okay. So for a marriage to work after infidelity, this is why it's so hard and why it is not, it's hard work, because it requires you, in order for the marriage to work, we have got to get to a place where we are both able to let our guards down. And so for the victim, that's the hardest part for them. Letting this person get back in, letting them get close to your heart again, not continuously beating them over the head for what they did, not continuously bringing up what they did. If we stay stuck in the past, we can't move forward. Now, that's not to say that we don't address what happened, right? That's one of the biggest things. Like, we got to talk about it. What happened? You cannot leave anything out. So what I always have the perpetrator to do, and I let the victim kind of run the show when it comes to that, but she needs, or he needs, all of his questions answered. So we ain't talking nothing about why you keep at, because I need to know, right? So the victim gets to have his or her questions answered. Like, everything has got to be put on the table. We can't move forward if we don't have transparency and honesty now. So all of that needs to be put out there. Any questions that the victim has, the offender has to be willing, and that's a part of his work or her work, whoever the person is, they have to be willing to, and I'm going to use the word subject, they have to be willing to subject themselves to the questions, the feelings, and the emotions of the other person. So what that means is they have got to be willing to hear what the other person is saying about how this impacted them, how it made them feel, how they feel about you in the moment. You got to be willing to, and that takes humility. That's not always an easy thing. And so that's why I say getting back together, it can work, but it's a lot of work, and it's work required by both people. So what happened has to be put out the tape. You can't be trying to hide anything, because if you are saying, as the offender, that I'm sorry, I wish I never did this, then you have got to start rebuilding trust. And so the victim is going to have to tell you what she or he requires to rebuild the trust. The offender has to agree to do that. So that may look like your phone is unlocked and where I need it to be. I need all your passwords to the email, to the computer. Like, we don't got no secrets no more, honey. Right? If you're going somewhere, I need to know where you're going and who you're going to be with and what time you're going to come back. And then the offender has to agree to do that. Now, understand what that's like. Y'all know I used to work in probation. So I was a probation officer for about 12 years. And there we had check-ins. I need to know where you are at all times. When you are agreeing to work your way back into the trusts of your spouse, like you're trying to rebuild your spouse's trust, Yeah, you're on probation. Like, I need you, you're going to have to check in because what you want to do, and now I'm talking to the offenders, the people who have been the person that cheated, and you're saying, hey, I know I messed up. Like, this is my good thing, and I messed this up. You have got to be willing to take humble and to put yourself out there to help alleviate her fear, her pain. You've got to do your part to alleviate her from having any kind of thoughts coming in her mind. I wonder where he is. No, you ain't got to wonder because I'm going to tell you. I'm going to so and so's house. I'm going to call you when I get there. I'm going to be there for 2 hours and we're going to play whatever. And then I'm coming right back. And you have to show consistency. Consistency is what helps to rebuild trust. That's hard work though. Yeah, you want punishment. And I'm not calling it punishment. I'm calling it you are being held accountable. There have got to be boundaries that are put in place. And that's one of the boundaries and expectations that have got to be addressed. The victim has got to say what she or he requires for you to be able to rebuild trust. If they're not able to tell you that, we can't do anything, right? Because this person is spinning their wheels because they really don't know, what it is that they need to help you rebuild the trust. So those are some of the things that I kind of help my couples work through. It's identifying how do we get here? What's necessary to move forward, which includes we need the whole story. Don't come. I tell my people, hey y'all, I don't know if y'all know how I am, but I don't play. I mean, not in a bad way, you know what I mean? But like, what we talking about? Put it all out there, and the victim gets to ask whatever question she want to ask. And one of the things that I always tell the victim is you want to be kind of assessing what is you can tell whether or not this is going to happen again. um when you're asking the question, if the person is attempting to make you feel some kind of way for asking, then they are having issues when it comes to humility. Now, keep in mind, they may be embarrassed, which you should have thought about that before you went and did what you did, right? So you put your ego. You cannot have ego. When it comes to trying to rebuild the relationship, ego has got to go out of the door. So those are just some of the things that are required when it comes to rebuilding and reconciling if you decide to do that. And it can be done. And not only can it be done, it can be done in such a way that both individuals are growing and healing, but they're also maturing. Like Irv said earlier, they are maturing and getting to a place where they can accept, I might have some things that I need to heal from, right? That come up. Anytime you're in a relationship, what it does is it lets you see you. And relationships, and I'm going to use this word opportunity, relationships give us the opportunity to see us, to see the areas that we are still um, believing lies about ourselves, whether it's the lie that we are not good enough, or the lie that we don't deserve, or the lie that we aren't worthy or lovable. Whatever that lie is, it's going to come out. Any areas that you have that you aren't healed in, all relationships are going to show it. And that's not a bad thing. It's an opportunity for you to grow, to heal, and to become your healthiest self. So, any questions? I know we're over time. Normally we go for an hour, but any questions about how to move forward, uh, other considerations, things to do when it comes to infidelity, or even, if you've been through infidelity, what has helped you? Y'all put that in the comments. Put that in the comments, because anytime we do these lives, my whole purpose of doing these lives is to help us grow, right? To help us grow, to challenge you to grow, to heal, and to look at ways to develop who you are. right? So you've been living with you this whole time, these for however many years it is. And if there are areas that you can grow in, you need to do it. Whether it's you taking care of you, some of the clients that I work with and have worked with, over the years, are finding that they are not taking care of themselves. And because they're not taking care of themselves, people are seeing them as doormats. All right. People are taking advantage of them. People are mistreating them. Um, and the reality is, it's your responsibility to take care of you. Right. So sometimes we get into these marriages, we get into these relationships looking for someone else to take care of us when that's our role, that's our responsibility. And so, like Natalie is saying, seek counseling. We have our support groups, we have our self care, healthy coping group for women. And in that group, ladies, it's starting on Monday at 6 p.m. In that group, we are talking about, we're looking at us and we're looking at how do I need to grow? How can I start taking care of my needs so that I am the healthiest version of myself so that I can show up in my marriage or my relationship the best as my best self. So if y'all are interested in that, email us at info@rdhcounselingandconsulting.com. Wait, rdhcounseling.com. Mm. Hit us on Facebook. Hit us on Facebook. I think it's RDH Counseling. Hit us on Facebook. Give us your name and telephone number, and we will. Oh, today's Friday. If you get it to us by today, we'll get with you Monday morning because it starts Monday evening. So, but yeah, it's important for us to grow. And for our fellas, we have our men's support group. And it's sometimes our fellas are going through things and they don't have the support. They don't have safe spaces where they can talk about what it means for them to be a husband, the challenges that they go through. Ladies, I love doing my men's group because in those groups, we are working through the challenges of that the men are dealing with when it comes to dealing with us. So, fellas, if you need that safe space, if you need a support group, we have one for you. Um, so connect with us. Any questions or comments? The other thing is, as we're doing our Relationship Fridays, we talk all things relationship. So nothing is off of the table. So if you have specific topics that you want us to talk about or address or kind of bring up, feel free to message us and let us know. We're always looking to provide you with the best information that we can. So let us know if you have topics that you want us to talk about. I have a book coming out, another book, and it is called Life After Divorce, Turning Your Pain into Power. And we talk about the fact that, yeah, sometimes you ain't able to stay in the marriage and it's not the end of the world. And you can go through it and grow through it. Most importantly, you can grow through it. That's the most important thing. And growing and learning about you and becoming your best self. So that's going to be coming out. Y'all will see some information. You can pre-order that. It is an anthology. Do y'all know what an anthology is? An anthology is a collection of writings about a certain topic. So that book is talking about life after divorce. So I'm excited about that. In the next couple of weeks, we are going to be interviewing some of the other co-authors, and we're going to be talking about the real of divorce, going through it and kind of the life and the experience that people have when it comes to going through divorce, whether it's because of infidelity, abuse, or neglect, or just this was not who I was supposed to get married to at all. So, whatever it is, we're going to talk about it. So, if y'all have questions, and even for those of y'all who are watching the replay, thank you for joining us. Feel free to put your comments in the comment section and we will respond. Thank you all again for joining us for another Relationship Friday. This has been a good and definitely much needed conversation. So I'm glad that y'all took part in it. If it was good, share it. Let me know. But share it, like, follow, share, like, and follow us. We're also on YouTube. We want to get our subscribers up over there. Y'all go over there right now, please, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have some exciting things that's going to be coming up. So I'm excited about that. So happy Friday. Y'all made it. I want y'all to be productive. Be good to you. Be good to you. Have a good weekend. What are y'all gonna do for self-care? What y'all gonna do for self-care? Put in the comments what's one thing that you plan to do for you this weekend, because this week might have been draining and tired for some of us. What are y'all gonna do for self-care? Put it in the comment. I want to see that right now. Put it in the comment. What are you going to do this week for self-care? And I'm gonna hold you to it. What you gonna do? Whether it's getting rest, eating healthy, drinking water, setting boundaries. Let me say this real quick. Thanksgiving is coming up, and I'm gonna do a live next week. I think on Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll do a live about self-care during the holidays. I need y'all to take care of you during the holidays. So some of y'all, your family members, gonna be acting crazy, and you need to kind of set boundaries with them. That's self-care. So they may be asking you to do XYZ. Can we stay here? Can we go there? Can you do that? No. So what are y'all gonna do? Don't overspend. Do not overspend. Don't drain yourself. Ask for help if you need help cooking. People are coming over and they're saying, "What can I bring?" And you saying nothing. You better tell them what you need them to bring, right? Those are the ways that you can engage and take care of yourself. So, what are y'all gonna do? I'm waiting to see. I don't see anything in the comments about what y'all are gonna do for self care. Go ahead. I'm not gonna close the live until I see it. What are y'all gonna do for self care for this weekend? What you gonna do? Look, I'm looking at my phone. What y'all gonna do? Go ahead, put it in there. I'm hungry, so can y'all hurry up and put it in there? What are y'all committing to do for self care this weekend? Are you going to get rest? Are you going to set some boundaries? Are you going to go for a walk? Give yourself the break you need. Talk nicely to you. What are you going to do for self care? Let me see. Can y'all put that in there? I know there's like a lag or a delay. Can you just put that in there for me? And I want y'all to do it, to take care of you. Because it's no one else's responsibility to take care of us but us. Okay. So that is our responsibility to do that. Sakita, what are you going to do for self-care this weekend? What you going to do? You sleeping in? You going for a walk? You're going to do some meditation? You're going to do some journaling, praying? What are y'all doing? What y'all going to do? Somebody says seek counseling. That's good. That's definitely a form of self-care. So y'all make sure that you take care of you. Whatever it is that you decide that you're going to do. Oh, I love that. Relax and laugh hard. Yes. Listen, I love to laugh. I know y'all can see. I love laughing. Oh, I'm an outgoing, funny, laughing type person. And that is delicious, Natalie. Yes, that's an excellent form of self care. Laugh. Find something to laugh about. Shoot, make your own self laugh. Relax. Just relax. Kick back. Enjoy yourself. I am definitely going to do that as well. So, whatever it is that you're going to do, take care of you. You matter. You're important. And when it comes to your relationships, you matter. You are important. And if you are in a relationship and it is not healthy, and you're not being valued and treated respectfully, You don't have to stay. Now, you can if you want, especially if you feel like this is, you know, something worth staying for. But other than that, okay. So I'll leave it there. I'll see you all next time. Y'all be blessed. Take care. See you soon.